Good morning everyone, welcome back to the off-grid garage. Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video here from the off-grid garage in sunny hot Australia. This time sponsored by, still not sponsored by Oettinger Pilz, Germany. Still waiting guys. Well, in today's video I want to do some testing with the new battery and the old battery together. Well, I've got them paired together now for over a week and I was waiting for them to charge up, but unfortunately the weather is just, well, not so sunny at the moment, I would say. And I thought, okay, this morning we were at around 20% state of charge for the combined battery. Let's do the low state of charge experiments first before we charge it all the way up, if we ever charge it up at all. And because it was cloudy again this morning, I thought, well, but now I can see we are getting almost 1 kilowatt from solar and we are at 25% already. So again, I want to discharge the battery under 15, under 10% potentially, and see how the two different BMSs react to a low state of charge of the battery, low voltage, potentially a low voltage disconnect. How does the whole system performs at these conditions? But now 25.1%. Well, as you can see, I have to do some garden work anyway this morning. I want to do some, oh yeah, there's heaps of material to shredder. So I will get the electric shredder out now and start mulching. And hopefully this reduces our overall state of charge a lot. And then we have to think about another possibility to get rid of all this energy and discharge the battery today, so we can have a look what's going on. Okay, let's do that. So now we have used the electric chainsaw and the garden mulcher here to get rid of all this wood, cut off some firewood, but we are still at 25.1% state of charge, so this does not make a dent. And we've got really cloudy sky, dark sky, no sunshine at all, but the battery just lasts now. It is insane. I cannot imagine how it is if we have two more of these batteries. So double this capacity, 1100 ampere hours or something at 48 volts. Okay, I would say we leave it as it is until tomorrow morning, and then we just plug in the car and see what the batteries do, because, well, this is not enough load here. And good morning and welcome back to the off-grid garage here. Yeah, it is now the next morning and I have left the battery uncharged the whole morning. I turned off the solar charge controllers fairly early when I was still in bed, remote control, and turned off the charging because, yeah, the sun was out. It's a nice and sunny day. The camera is so dirty here. Yeah, that's better. You can see me actually clearly. So we have already an alarm going on, low state of charge of our smart shunt. 11.6% we are, and the pool pump is running at the moment. So the battery claims we can do this for another 8.7 hours here, and there's no solar charging coming in, nothing. I want to start charging the vehicle now from the battery and see how this goes actually. So, well, I've got the JK-BMS here on my tablet, and I've got the old battery with the QUCC BMS here on my mobile phone. I start the screen recording now on both and hope I can put this here on the screen while we do this test. And I have also plugged in the vehicle already, but we want to have a look before we actually start here at the settings. Okay, so we are now having a look at the settings of both BMSs here. And interesting here is the under-voltage protection setting. So I've set them both to the same value. The cell under-voltage protection recovery. Okay, in the JK-BMS, we set this one to 2.8 as well, just to have the same settings for both BMSs. Okay, so let's go back into the status. At the moment we can see the JK-BMS delivers 5.4 amps and the QUCC BMS 4.6, so almost half-half. Deviation on the JK is 30 millivolts deviation here on the QUCC 116 already. Okay, this will not go pretty. So expectations. Well, it is expected that one battery obviously shuts down before the other one. They are not 100% the same, and they will never be, even if you would use the same equipment and same BMS, the same settings. There's always one battery shutting down first because of the difference in cell structure, chemistry. They are not 100% matched. The question is, how long does it take before one battery shuts down and the other is following, so the whole system will shut down then? This is a very good question, and I thought about this for quite a while now. I think they will shut down fairly quickly, one after another. Especially now we have the situation that the old battery is actually on a higher state of charge than the new battery. I'm not sure from this morning, because they both were on a fairly low state of charge, if there were any equalization currents flowing already, and they may have equalized now. So the voltages are identical. They are always the same because they are in parallel. There's no difference. Even if this one wants to go down from the voltage, it gets charged from the other battery. And this battery then keeps basically the other one alive. So it drains this battery even faster, because we may have a higher state of charge in this battery. And this works as long as the voltage here is fairly stable in this battery and keeps the voltage stable in this battery. Okay, I'm now starting to charge the vehicle here with 5 amps. This is the lowest setting we have. And we just want to see what's going to happen here. Okay, so 15.9 and 16 amps. That is fairly equal. So number 6 here on the old battery, as expected, 3 volts only. And the QUCC BMS claims we've got around 14 ampere hours left. And we can see the voltage is going up and down here on the JK-BMS again. And Up North and Personal left a great comment under one of the last videos and explained actually why this is. It is because your normal voltmeter, your normal multimeter has true RMS. Root means square. That means this multimeter measures an average over a certain period of time and shows the value in the display. So if you have a very, very quick spike in your voltage, for example, this one will not pick it up, but will build an average. So your voltage goes up and down slowly. The JK-BMS on the other side does not have RMS measurement method. So this one shows you the true voltage at this moment. And he also explained the current the inverters are pulling from a battery is not constant, because they have to invert the power from DC to AC inside and basically turning off and turning on the power very quickly to achieve a higher voltage inside the inverter. And this causes a certain ripple on the DC voltage, which the QUCC BMS picks up. And depending on when it measures the voltages of the cells, you could have a higher voltage or a lower voltage at this point of time of measurement. So now we can already see we have a little bit of a split here. The QUCC battery is actually delivering more power than the JK-BMS battery. We've got 5 amps of difference now between the two batteries. And this is most likely because the new battery, the JK-BMS battery, is on a lower state of charge now. Okay, we are down to 12 ampere hours, 20 amps from the QUCC, 13 amps from the JK. Okay, let's increase the charging speed in the Tesla to 8 amps, 28 from QUCC, 20 from JK. So the battery with a higher state of charge is delivering more power, which is in our case the QUCC battery at the moment. The JK battery wants to go down with the voltage but can't because it's connected to the other battery. But it also cannot deliver more power at this voltage. This is now 1.5 kilowatt from the QUCC and around 1 kilowatt from the JK. Okay, I'm increasing the charging speed even further. This all takes too long. I need to pee. Yeah, we will turn off the batteries at 2.55 volts. Is one of the cells hit 2.55, which is potentially cell number 6, because in the JK battery there's not much going on. We've got only 60 millivolt deviation at this super low state of charge. Battery monitor claims we are at 10% state of charge now, all in total, which may not be true. No, I don't think it's true. It's too high. We are lower than that. Cell number 6 is still holding. Okay, we'll leave this running for a while here and see how we go. Now we've got almost 10 amps difference between the QUCC BMS and the JK-BMS. Well, I actually don't know when the inverter will shut down. I have no idea what the low voltage disconnect for the inverter is. But I think we should be safe. I think it sits to 40 volts or something, so really, really low. But yeah, you should probably program your inverter to cut off at 48 volts or something. So if you go that low, it will just turn off your load. But then on the other hand, you know, but I said to myself, why should I do this? Because I'm monitoring the system constantly anyway. And if I'm in need to get power out of the battery at such a situation now, I don't want to have the inverter shut off automatically. I want to control when I take off the load. Maybe I need to drive down the battery to 2.5 volts because it's an emergency or something else, you know. So that's why I set my one to 40 volts, I think. And we can still see 35 amps and 25, 27, 29 amps. It is not too much difference actually what the batteries deliver to the load. Cell number 6, 2.8 volt. I think this will be our trigger point to turn off this battery at least, and then the show will keep running on the other battery. And we can see the cells on the new battery just dip under 3 volts now, but they are still fairly uniform, 65 millivolts deviation, while we have almost 400 millivolt on the old battery. Cell number 6 is dipping fast, 2.75. The Smart Shunt claims we are at 9%. I think we are already lower. Okay, I'm shutting down the Raspberry now. Settings, general, shutdown, shutdown, execute. Okay, Raspberry is shutting down now. Is there anything else I need to check? No, probably not. We're at 48 volts now, but we will shut down any moment. So the QUCC BMS will shut down, and then all the power comes from the JK-BMS. And this should shut down then quickly as well. 2.68. I wonder if the relay of the QUCC will now constantly turn off and turn on, because it can see the higher power still coming in from the other battery and turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off. Let's see if this is the case. Okay, 2.65. We are very close. Look at the currents. They're almost the same now again. Okay, let's see if we go back to 5 amps here in the Tesla. I don't want to have these high currents flowing here when we disconnect the batteries now. 2.6 volts. It's cell number 6. It's still delivering more power. Will it recognize the JK battery as a charger and turns on the relay again quickly? Because recovery voltage for both batteries is 2.8 volts. So all the cells need to be over 2.8 volts before the BMS should turn on again. 2.55, there we have it. Okay, there's a moment. Takes a few seconds. Should beep and turn off the QUCC BMS, and then we should see the other JK-BMS taking over the load. There we go. This charge is off. 0 amps and full 36 amps now from the JK-BMS battery. So this is as expected, and now we are depleting the new battery even faster, and until we hit 2.55 volts with one of the cells, which is potentially number 4 or number 10. It's the red one. And the QUCC is just disconnected. So that's good. It doesn't recognize the other battery as a charger and turns on the battery again. So this works just fine. I'm very happy with that. Yep, the voltages in the QUCC battery are going up slowly. It recovers. And we are further discharging the JK-BMS battery. We are under 47 volts now with the new battery. And the QUCC battery is at 48.5 volts. That's interesting, right? Has a higher voltage, but there's no juice in the cells anymore, so it stays disconnected. And this is why the relay doesn't turn on anymore, because the outside voltage is at 47 volts now, and the battery itself has 48.5, so it doesn't recognize this as a charging current or charging voltage at all. If I would turn off the load, it would be different, because then the voltage rises in the JK battery, and this could potentially trigger the relay of turning on again. But I just want to see how far this one goes down. And it's so nice and bright and sunny outside. I want to turn on the charge controllers. 38 amps still. Pool pump is running. And we can turn on the irrigation pump as well, to speed things up. We are under 46 volts now. 2.8. I would never drive the battery that low. This is just for the test. You know, at 2.8 volts average voltage here, and only 100 millivolt deviation at 60 amps load. That's pretty good. Man, there's more juice in this battery than I expected. The good old GoPro, not in focus, but it's empty. Okay, we switch over to this camera here. We're at under 44 volts. And still no message on the inverter that we have a low voltage situation. It's still charging the Tesla 2.5. I could see at cell number 10. There we go. Protection cell under voltage. Cell number 10 has reached it and turned off the whole show. Lights turned off. Everything has turned off now. Okay, well, I guess we are now the offline, off-grid garage again. Everything has shut down. Disconnected both batteries now. And now we do the scenario. So, well, this has happened in the evening when there was no sun out there to actually recharge the batteries. And now the next morning, the sun comes out, kicks in again, and starts recharging the batteries. So I will turn on the solar charge controllers now again. And then we want to see in which sequence these actually turn on again. But before that, I have to disconnect the vehicle, otherwise it starts charging straight away when the power comes back, and we don't want that at the moment. Okay, let's go into our Victron Connect. Local, West Roof, battery, enable charger. Okay, the charger is back on. Do quickly the same for the east roof. Battery, enable charger. There we go. Okay, let's go back and let's observe what's going to happen. So both... Oh, it turns already on. Why is it turning on? That's interesting. The QUCC battery is still off. And the JK-BMS receives 56 amps, but it is still in under voltage protection. Yeah, I'm just checking the settings here again in the QUCC BMS. Under voltage 2.55, under voltage release 2.8 volts. So it is definitely waiting now for the cells to recover to 2.8 volts, which they won't because there's no charging coming in. Because the relay is still turned off. See, the charging button is on, but because it's a relay BMS, there's no charging coming in. Let's see what happens when the voltage rises above 48.6 volts. Because here on the JK-BMS we can see we've got 48.2 volts and the QUCC has 48.6. I think it is waiting. There might be a trigger to turn on the BMS again at this voltage. Because you may remember this black wire we have on the QUCC BMS, which bypasses the relay, and the BMS actually senses the voltage outside of the relay when it is turned off. So we are now at 48.6 volts as well. Let's see if the QUCC turns on again. If we hear the beep. .7. Because the JK-BMS reacted fairly quickly off the incoming solar and turned on charging again, the QUCC stays disconnected, 0 amps, and the voltage will never go over 2.8 volts again in this state. So why is it not turning on anymore? Well, I guess this is one of the many questions which are still open in regards how the... Oh, now it has turned on for some reason. Okay, and now it's getting half of the charge. What was the trigger point for that? Pack over voltage. I don't see the trigger point for that. Does anyone know why it just turned on and why not before? That seems weird. Anyway, what we can see as well is that the JK-BMS takes a lot more power than the QUCC battery now. That is an interesting test, I think. Yeah guys, I think so far this video from today with the test of the two battery packs in parallel, and then we drive them all the way down to 0 until the BMS is turned off and see what is going to happen. I wanted to know if there is a quick, rapid, cascade-like shutdown of both BMSs, but obviously this is not the case. The state of charge may be more different than I actually thought at the beginning. And we all know the old battery shut down because of cell number 6. That was the only low voltage disconnect we had, right? And again here with the QUCC BMS, it is not really transparent and easy to understand how the trigger mechanism of this relay works. We have seen none of the cells had recovered to 2.8 volts, but there was already incoming solar power, but the relay did not turn on again. So how is it recognizing external power sources? And what is the trigger point to turn on the relay again? And only after we have seen like 49 volts in the other battery, the relay magically turned on. And I don't quite like this situation. We had this many times before when the relay actually turned off or turned on and we didn't quite know why this was happening. And eventually we will disconnect this battery and take out the BMS and replace this BMS with a different one. I actually have one here in this little box already sitting, so this could be a potential candidate for the old battery. Once we have fully serviced, maintained and checked and tested it, of course, and repaired the strip terminals of cell number 6. We will do this soon here in a future video on the channel. Yeah guys, quite interesting how the system performs, how the shutdown actually works. And I probably will repeat this once the other batteries are in place as well, when we have filled out all the other shelves here with the batteries, and then we do another low voltage disconnect and see how this works with 3 batteries. No strip terminals, no cell number 6 actually messing up our whole test scenario. Because I think the old battery would have gotten a little bit further if we wouldn't have cell number 6 shutting down the whole system. But we will see, we will see. Okay guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support here on the channel and your generous beer donations. I really appreciate them and everyone who is supporting the channel here financially as well. Until the next video guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thank you again for watching. See you then, bye bye. $26.32